It gladdens me to know that Odin prepares for a feast. Soon I shall be drinking ale from curved horns. This hero that comes into Valhalla did not lament his death. I shall not enter Odin's hall with fear. I shall wait for my sons to join me. And when they do, I will bask in their tales of triumph. The Aesir will welcome me. My death comes without apology. And I welcome the Valkyries to summon me home.
Have you ever wondered what war looked like in the medieval age? Before guns, bombs, and technology? Well, Chivalry 2 delivers exactly that and so much more. Developed by Torn Banner Studios, who is actually an independent studio, which makes Chivalry 2 a indie game, which really surprised me because the gameplay and graphics alike truly feel like a AAA experience. In case you've never heard of Chivalry 2, maybe you've heard of another indie game called Mordhau. I think I'm saying that right. The two games are very similar. Both are medieval slasher games playable with up to 64 people fighting in huge battlefields, leading and defending against sieges and cavalry charges. And I want to give a disclosure that I haven't actually had the chance to play Mordhau yet. So I won't be comparing the two games in today's video, but I totally plan on covering Mordhau in the future. If you've played both games, maybe let me know which one you prefer down in the comments. And if you've only played Chivalry 2, well, let me know which side you're on, the Agamemnon Knights or the Mason Order. Chivalry 2 throws you headfirst into a vibrant, chaotic battlefield with up to 64 players. Whether you're clashing in objective-based team fights or diving into one of the limited time modes, while the map selection isn't huge, the ones available are well designed and packed with variety. Each battlefield features a mix of open skirmish zones and intense choke points, variety of objectives to attack and defend, and dynamic terrain that keeps every fight fresh. One moment you're bracing against a hail of ballista bolts while pushing massive siege towers toward the enemy walls, the next you're scrambling to grab as much gold as possible from a burning village before time runs out. Instead of making you create a fully customized loadout, Chivalry 2 offers 12 distinct subclasses spread across 4 classes. You start with 4 of the subclasses unlocked, and then you unlock the rest as you level up, along with new primary and secondary weapons for each class. At first, I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't mix and match freely, but I quickly realized that the class system covers just about every playstyle imaginable, from a sniper, an axe-wielding berserker, or a coward hiding behind a spear and a shield. The game will also auto-balance teams if one side seems to be completely dominating or too many players leave, which is understandable, but it's also really annoying. I prefer the Mason Order, and I wish there was a way to only play as one team, but unfortunately there isn't. And I sometimes get confused and forget which team I'm on, and there are indicators above your teammates, but that can be confusing when everyone's crammed together. But there's another way to play. There's also a 1v1 and 3v3 arena option, which I hadn't played until more recently. But it's actually really fun, and I've been playing the 3v3 mode way more than I thought. And I kinda wish there was a ranked option. I think it'd be a great way to add some other kind of progression beside the levels and the campaigns, which I'm not a huge fan of the campaigns because each one requires you to pay real money to receive premium items. It's basically a bunch of individual permanent battle passes, and you guys know how much I hate battle passes. But anyway, one of my favorite parts of the game are the limited time modes like Volley, which is only ranged weapons, and the current limited time mode, Pig Warfare. I mean, last peasant standing. Yeah, I love this mode. Chivalry 2 offers a surprisingly high skill ceiling, and facing veteran players at first can definitely feel frustrating. But if you treat every death as a learning experience, you'll improve faster than you think. Keep on playing and you'll go from struggling against a single noob to confidently 1v1ing veteran players and effortlessly cutting through multiple opponents. The sense of progression is incredibly rewarding, and if you want a more relaxed way to train, the community servers are a great place to duel and practice at your own pace, and even ask for advice. Learning the combat in this game isn't just a grind, it's genuinely fun, and the more you invest, the more satisfying it becomes. One of my favorite ways to practice is by hopping into a free-for-all server. It's pretty much non-stop combat and has exponentially increased my ability to take on multiple players at one time. Chivalry 2 also has a chat, which, as you can imagine, leads to some toxicity to say the least. The community isn't actually super toxic though. More often than not, I end up making acquaintances or alliances with enemy players, but then sometimes your teammates will sit there and attack you for saying something that they didn't like, and then they try to kick you whenever you start attacking them back. You may have noticed during the intro of today's video, I used a audio clip from the show Vikings, my personal favorite show, and with my favorite speech from Ragnar Lothbrok. Now, what does this have to do with Chivalry 2? Well, I started playing this game immediately after I finished the show, and Chivalry 2 genuinely made me feel like an actual Viking fighting in the show, which is why my go-to weapon was the Dane Axe. And I was a little disappointed when I realized that there are no Vikings in this game, because for some reason I originally thought the Masons were some kind of pagan Vikings, but that's not the case. They are actually pagans, just pagans who recently turned Christian, but still not Viking. I still think having Vikings and Viking maps would have been such a cool addition to this game, but I also found this post that makes a really good point, because this is literally a game called Chivalry, aka the art of war in medieval Europe. It's meant to be a game that is primarily inspired by high to late medieval era knights and warfare when chivalry was a thing. This isn't For Honor. The only reason the Tenosians, I actually never tried to pronounce that. The only reason they even exist is as a separate faction, just to give the Masons and the Gathians a reason to have Crusade-esque maps. But they are more of a backdrop than anything, but otherwise Vikings do not really work with the themes, for lack of a better word, of the game. So yeah, with that guy said. So while the speech on the surface does not necessarily relate to the Christian characters in the game, I still think the speech applies to the soldiers on the battlefield, fighting without reservation for their own deaths. To end off this video, I just wanted to talk about the Masons and Agatha because the topic really interested me. While doing research on the topic, I came across a Reddit page, a bunch of people arguing, but I found a few posts interesting. Anyway, that's all I've got for today's video. Hope you have all enjoyed, and if you have, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Also, make sure to use code GOLDEN at checkout for rogueenergy.com. I'll leave a link in the description. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Masons are more like pagans than Vikings. Agatha is technically closer since they live in the frozen north.
Yeah, Agatha already has housecarl and Scottish Highland gear. They seem to line up with the North Sea Empire of Scandinavia and the British Isles, while the Masonic Order feels more Germanic or Slavic in origin.
Well, the Vikings were pagan too. Masons' entire religion seems to be inspired by North paganism. The Agatean North seems to be based more on medieval Scotland than anything.
That is not true at all. The pagans are more Celtic or Germanic than Norse. And as stated by others, Agatha has a few Norse-inspired armor sets.
Friend, you have no idea what you are talking about. I am Norse pagan. Paganism is not Celtic or Germanic. However, there is Celtic and Germanic paganism.
Pagan is an umbrella term for most polytheistic religions. Wicca, heathenry, Druidry, Chemeticism, Roman polytheism, and so many more are all pagan. They come from many different areas of the world that have nothing to do with each other.